Hey friends, you're watching BrainStorm Acres. I'm Henry. Today I have a couple of things I need to move up in the schedule. It's going to get hot, really hot. It's supposed to be over 100 degrees starting on Saturday, so I need to get going on moving some water out to the greenhouse to run the evaporative cooler. It's just too hot in the greenhouse. It's too hard to keep it cool enough. But before I start doing that, I need to water the plants that we put in last night. Those plants look really good, but I need to irrigate them a little bit more. Yeah, they're going to need some water today for sure. Now you may wonder why I'm running water out here on the ground. There's nothing growing here, but the real reason is that the hose is out in the sun and it's getting pretty toasty. That water's hot enough, it's not going to do those plants any good. It's probably 120, 125 degrees. And I really don't want to be abusing those plants any more than they were yesterday when we planted them up. Jack's sitting over here in the sun. He keeps telling Irene he wants to go to the greenhouse with her, but then he chickens out. Still too hot. I'm using some of the water to bed in the ground that I put around the valve box yesterday. Now that's much better. Now these plants are actually on the irrigation that we're running over here, but they were just transplanted yesterday when it was relatively cool, and I want to make sure that they don't have a problem today. We pretty much have all of the beds up here against the house stabilized, at least as far as irrigation goes. I'm going to have to wait for some topsoil to be delivered. I'd originally planned to reuse the topsoil that we dug out of the first bed, but there's too much sand and clay in it. I tried screening some out yesterday, which I did for filling in this bed here, but it's not all that good, and I have a lot that I need to do in terms of soil in the new bed that's to the west. Well, I think that's it. I'm going to do something different than I usually do. I've set this up one other time in dealing with this irrigation. I'm going to put a permanent cap on the end of the water line that will be running to that valve box. The reason for that is I'm not going to be able to get the valve box installed today, probably, but I need to get water going to the greenhouse so I can run the evaporative cooler. I'll go ahead and hook this up, run the line over here to the fence, put an end on it for a garden hose, and call it good. Press the cap on and hold it. It takes a little while, but it's warm. Actually getting pretty hot, so it will sit up faster. All right, that pipe is set to go. Time to get this T set up to hook the main water line into the water line going to the valve box, and then to the line that's going to go out to the spigot. Now the trick is I'm going to have to judge what the angle is for this T-fitting. The T-fitting is going to connect into the main water line and run this branch off to the valve box. The problem is there's some intervening soil and a few rocks and things like that. So I'm going to give it my best guess. I'll probably be able to make it work, and if I can't, I'll cut it again and change it later. The T is on. I'll prop it up on my shoe for right now so I can get the lateral on. Now this glue is setting up pretty fast because it's warm. Well, maybe I should say it's hot. Push it all the way in and hold it. Nice isometric exercise. You know, we've talked a lot about doing work on the homestead and not needing to go to a gym. Well, when you spend a lot of time holding PVC together so it sets up, I guess you're doing a good amount of isometric exercise. I should have thought about this and grabbed another piece of that PVC pipe before I sat down. Glue all over my hands. I know better. I should be wearing some gloves, but we're running out. They're not real available right around where we are, so we're being careful about using them. I'll be able to peel this off later. Now I'll be finishing this piping out by running pipe right up to this concrete wall right here. So this is another set of heavy-duty blocks like we used the other day to make the bed over here on the west. I use a right angle fitting to bring it up, and then I'll run it back out through this fence. Now I'll have to cut a hole in the chicken wire, but that's what has to be done. And before I glue this pipe into the T back here, I'm going to put this right angle fitting on. And the reason why I'm going to do that is I want to make sure that everything actually fits together the way it's supposed to. If I've made a mistake, I'll still have the chance to adjust, but the biggest thing is, since I want the right angle fitting to go right up against this concrete block, there's not enough room to put this fitting on once the pipe is in place. Now, since there's a lot of distance between here and where the pipe is buried in the ground, I could probably pick it up enough to put this fitting on, but I'll go ahead and do it the smart way. Now, one of the things you need to be aware of is that sometimes the PVC fittings that you can buy at various hardware stores are actually not dimensionally the same as the piece of PVC pipe that you're going to put into it. Then it might be a little loose or it might be a little tight. In this case, it's pretty tight. Hey Issa, what are you doing? Are you going after a lizard? No lizards. No lizards. Issa's busy trying to... Hey! Scared her away, so I'll be able to get over there and rescue that lizard in a little bit. First I need to get this glued up. That looks okay. It's not perfect, but I think it'll do. Or maybe not. I'll need to cut this and shorten it. It's not much of a difference, but I need to make sure it works right.